You're listening to Draft Chaff. Coming up this week,
my own Schwarzschild radius and just become a black hole of cringe.
What's our dino count at? Oh my god! We just got past it.
Which is mainly worth the inclusion just because of that 1-1 counters clause.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Draft Chaff. This is episode number 180. My name is Zach. I'm one of your hosts, and joining me, as per usual, Ben Fisher. What's up, dude? Can you believe we're at 180 episodes? It's crazy.
180 episodes. That is ridiculous. I mean, I was going to make a joke about doing a full 180 or something, but what's even the joke? Like, we started out bad and now we're good? I don't think that's true.
That's not true. Yeah. I will say, if you go back and listen to our first episode, we have improved the quality of the show since the first episode. So
I'm not sure I physically could. I think I might cringe myself into I would cringe myself fully within my own Schwarzschild radius and just become a black hole of cringe. I'm not sure I could actually listen to more than a second without just imploding.
All right. Well, before we dive into our main topic this week, of course, the usual housekeeping. Do check out the Discord if you're not already in there. It's the best place to be to chat all things MTG. Chat with us. Come say hi, discuss your picks, talk about your trophies. We love seeing everybody sharing their trophies over in the trophies channel. We also have our bounty boards up and going. So if you haven't checked that out, go into the Discord, check out the bounty boards channel. There's a thread attached to basically the bounty board for each set going forward that will show you where you can post to claim those bounties. They're not one-offs, so just because someone else has claimed it doesn't mean you can't. We're using like a rolling tally of points, so don't be discouraged if you see somebody already got something. We want to see those in there. And then, we've got a limited formats forum channel in there as well for all of our limited formats going forward. So LCI is one of them. I know, Ben, you've been posting in a Vintage Cube forum thread over there. So, yeah, check that out. It's a nice way for us to kind of keep the server clean and not have to archive each set as we go along, so we can keep them around for longer.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of the bounty boards have been claimed already. I think some of them haven't been done yet. I don't think I've seen an Amalia hit that 20 power and wipe the board. But Grim Captain turned out to be a little easier than expected. So this is great data, and it's cool to see people posting in there. This is the part of the format where I think it's starting to settle a little bit. People are seeing what's good. Maybe the degenerates among the listenership are starting to try out maybe push the boundaries a little bit. Well, you know, that's what we're all about here. So if you do it, we want to give you packs. So definitely check out those bounty boards and get yourself some free packs.
And if you'd like to support the show directly, you can do so on Patreon at patreon.com/draftchaffpod. Huge thanks to all of our patrons who continue to support us each and every week. You guys are the absolute best, and you keep us doing this. So thank you so much. Big update. We have ordered the pins for our relaunch of the Patreon. If you signed up during that 2-week relaunch window, those pins are coming. We'll have some art, like photo proofs of them. So you'll see those ahead of them actually being sent out to you. But just as a heads up, they are coming. So very cool. We're really excited about those. I know we're also in talks with our artist now on the new Draft Chaff Hero stickers for the upcoming Draft Chaff Hero for LCI. So if you're interested in getting your hands on one of those completely custom Draft Chaff Hero stickers, that is not a limited time thing. Join the Discord. You won't get old ones if you join after the fact, but you will get one every set for as long as we've got patrons who are supporting that tier.
Maybe I could post some of the like early sketches, although we haven't announced the Draft Chaff Hero for this set yet.
We have not yet.
And remember, it's not just like the most winning uncommon or common or something. It's one that kind of fits our brand, fits our vibe, one that we think is really just the unsung hero of the Draft Chaff pile. So go ahead and in Discord, I'm kind of curious, maybe in Gen or something, just let us know. What do you think the Draft Chaff hero for LCI is going to be? I think people are going to get this one wrong. I don't think they're going to see it coming.
I agree.
Yeah.
But we also have different perks over there, as well as, including things like shout outs, personal videos from Ben and I, sort of draft doctor, kind of helping you guys out with your drafts and different picks and such like that on a more personal basis. of course, drafting the Draft Chaff Cube and a handful of other things. And then, of course, all of the funding that is coming through the Patreon, where you're trying to put back into the show through things like the bounty boards, will increase sort of the prize support there, and various other methods, whether that be like an editor for the show or things like that, to make it so that we can get more content out to you as well. So thank you so much for your support over there. Again, we really appreciate it. You can check that out at patreon.com/draftchaffpod. All right. Now, we haven't mentioned what the main topic is this week, but we're going to skip our crack draft type thing because our main topic is our LCI live draft. So we're going to jump in. We'll do a full draft. Now, before the show, Ben and I were talking about whether or not to do a quick or premier draft, and we've decided on premier. Why was that, Ben?
Well, there's a little bit of nonsense going on with quick draft right now. So with LCI quick draft, I can actually pull up the stats. We're noticing a little bit of a trend. It's up on the screen right now. Anyone watching on YouTube or watching on Spotify video or any other type of video can see. What are you noticing a lot of, Zach? I know you're colorblind, so maybe this isn't a fair question to ask you, but do you notice any patterns?
Well, luckily, the mana symbols in MTG are usually not very difficult for me to decipher. Yeah, there's a lot of blue, a lot of red, and then ancillarily, well, that's not really a word, but a lot of white as well. So it looks like the red-blue is really pushing it in quick draft, and then the other kind of Jeskai combinations of colors are also doing quite well. There's occasionally black popping in there, a little bit of green here and there, but for the most part, it seems predominantly red-blue in quick draft, and we kind of want to give you like a draft that's interesting and not just on rails. So premier it is.
I'm looking to see how far down I have to scroll before I find a blue-green deck. I did actually find one, but it was splashing red and white. So I don't think that counts. I'm like halfway down the page right now. I don't see a single blue-green. Oh, there's one finally. Anywho, yeah, I actually have done a couple of the quick drafts. I got to say, it's not the most interesting format. If you want to grind up some gems, hop in there. This is data, right? The bots are clearly soft to the Jeskai colors right now. Artifacts is the main vector in there. Kind of beat down. Blue-white tends to be a little more reactive. I found that the Master's Guide mural is actually really strong if you can support it properly. So maybe those blue-white decks supported by that are going more to the late game. But in any case, you're free to grind up as many quick draft gems as you want. We want to get a little more authentic set experience, so I think we're going to go with actual Premier. Plus, I'm actually pretty high mythic right now. I'm at 585, so let's see if we can't. I mean, ideally not. I'd like to keep climbing. I don't think I have the time this month. I mean, I'm so behind on grading. The stack of papers on my desk is massive. But let's fire this draft.
Now, I will say, usually when we've done our live drafts in the past, they have been the literal first draft Ben and I have done in the format. We got some feedback that wasn't quite so useful if you're coming back to watch it in the future, because we tend to make some pretty egregious picks in the very early parts of the format, as everybody does. And so it can be kind of annoying to watch if you're coming back to it from the future. But so this time we're doing it a little bit later in the season. We've had some time to get some drafts under our belt. We should have a decent understanding of what's going on in the format at this point.
Mm-hmm. I went pretty deep on the open too, which was sealed, but I did a lot of prepping by drafting. So I think I've got this format pretty nailed. I know a lot of the good stuff to be doing, and I am starting to see there's a bit of a meta shift happening where we're starting to react to these hyper assertive blue-red beatdown decks, and even these strong blue-white artifact decks, some of which can operate on a different, almost a vector that the other decks can't really interact with. A flipped Master's Guide mural. I had a really strong red-green Dinos deck, and I just couldn't punch through this blue-white artifacts deck, which is really strange.
You probably should have played
formats won't be that hard. Honestly. We opened a Jade Light Spelunker. That's the X and a green 1/1 when it ETBs, it explores X times. There's also a Market Gnome. There's also a Sahili's Lattice. An Akawali, which I don't actually think I've even cast. Haven't loved the black-green stuff. There's a Goblin Tomb Raider that sticks out to me. I like Waylaying Pirates. There's an Unlucky Drop, which usually goes late. Deathcat Marionette is a great enabler for the self-mill vector. Some junk in here: Sorcerer's Spyglass, Disturbed Slumber, Runaway Boulder, There's a cycling dino in black. Okay, so we have some distinct vectors here. The Jade Light Spelunker, I think, is the strongest card in the pack. It just does more than anything else here. It can draw you a bunch of lands, or it's just sort of like a 5 mana 4/4-ish. Sahilia's Lattice is strong, and Market Gnome is strong, but I think the Spelunker is the pick here. I personally gravitate towards the red-white stuff and the blue-red stuff. I don't love this pack, but I think the Spelunker is the best card. Okay, we've got an Earthshaker Dreadmaw passed to us, a Malamet War Scribe. That's the one that casts not an overrun, Inspiring Charge when it enters the battlefield. A Helping Hand, which I haven't loved too much. A lot of solid white stuff in here. There is that Earthshaker Dreadmaw in green. Only the green card in the pack is a Cavern Stomper. Some kind of junky white cards. Envoy of Okanek, a How. Othiclan Landmark. There's a Petrify, which is actually pretty good. We're seeing a lot of white coming, but this is only pick 2. I like Italia's Favor a lot.
Yep.
Unlucky drop. I'm okay with pivoting off of our Spelunker here. I think Petrify is the best card in the pack. Italia's Favor is up there, though, and putting that on a big Jadelight Spelunker is strong. White is definitely flowing. This might put a couple people to our left into white, though. I think it's between the Petrify and the Favor. I don't know. Favor is just so good.
I think Favor pairs better with our Spelunker, though it's like Petrify is just good in anything you can cast it in. There's also Hidden Volcano here. Maybe we can wheel that. I like taking the Favor here. Yeah,
let's go with the Favor. Oh, well, one good favor demands another good favor in return, right? There's another one here. There's an Oaken Siren and a Hermetic Nautilus, both great cards in the assertive blue-red artifacts deck. So I like seeing those come around. Didact Echoes, not so much. Poor Zoyoa Lava Tongue. This thing is just... I mean, red-black has just got awful stats right now. We don't seem to be going so big as we want to Tendril the Myco Tyrant. I think we just take the other favor, but we can still look at what's in the pack. I actually like Captivating Cave. If you think of this as... Ignore all the stuff about the mana. This is a colorless land that taps, sacks for 4 mana. You put 2 counters on a creature. In a format dominated by cheap flyers, this is actually really strong.
Yeah, that's true.
We haven't actually seen any of those cheap flyers that I love so much, though. I think I'm just going to take another favor. Kind of
I like staying open here. None of the green cards are really speaking to me. The Tendril and Micro Tyrant's really good, but we kind of need to build around it. And so taking the second favor seems reasonable to me here.
There's a Sinuous Bentasaur. It's got Ben in the name. It's calling to me. And the caves are wheeling. There's some solid green cards here. Watley's Final Strike. I actually really like Pathfinding Axe Draw. That being said, there's a Volatile Wanderglyph, and this just pairs so well with the favor. The way the sequence works out is you play the Wanderglyph on 2. They leave back like a 2/2 or something to block it. You put favor on it, and then you get to cascade into something else, attack with the Wanderglyph, and then solidify your hand. I'd like to be in red. Red is the best color in this set by far, and I think just taking the Wanderglyph here early helps cut us off so that the other direction... we should get some good red cards. We haven't passed any good red cards, so I expect to get some red cards coming in pack 2. And this, again, kind of leaves us open.
Yeah, the only other option here in red is Idol of the Deep King.
Every pack.
And then we've got a few of those green cards, like you said, the Nursery and the Axe Draw there, but taking the Wanderglyph.
Oh, man, there's a Cave-In. The Caves deck is calling to me. I don't feel good enough at drafting the Caves deck to want to do it as our big live draft. There's a Sunfire Torch here. This pairs really well with the Wanderglyph. Just a 1 mana equip for 1 attack, deal 2. This can be good in the early aggro matchups where you're trying to like snipe some of your opponent's cheap flyers. I like seeing these Final Strikes come around. These you can sometimes wheel. We're not locked into green with the Spelunker, but it's a strong card. It'd be nice to play red-green. Maybe we open like some good Dino stuff. I think the Torch is still fine here. I mean, there's like an Uchbinbach, Mephitic Draft, Tithing Blade. I don't want to draft red-black, though. If we wanted to, I think Tithing Blade would be the best value here, but let's just take the Torch. All right, I was afraid this would happen. No red cards in this pack that we're interested in. Tectonic Hazard is sideboard at best, but there is a River Herald Scout. There's a Kutsil Malamet Exemplar here. Maybe if we'd gone into white, we'd be taking that. And there's another Helping Hand. Funny, there's a rare Deeproot Pilgrimage. Whenever a non-token merfolk becomes tapped, make a 1/1 hexproofer. I think River Herald Scout is the only really good card in this pack we'd consider playing, and red blue is the best thing in the format to do. So,
yeah, seems sweet.
Would you look at that? Lots of black and green cards here. Nothing in red or white whatsoever. All right. Well, if we're being, vectored into caves or some kind of graveyard thing, I think I want to take a green card here then. I think we can maybe pivot ourselves back into green. Staggering Size actually is really strong, especially with our Wander Glyph, our Spelunker making a giant creature and giving it tramples away to end a game. Pick up that Staggering Size. Some relatively unexciting stuff here. An example, Explorer's Cache. This works really well with stuff with Explore. Doesn't pair super well with any vector stuff we've got going on here. I mean, I actually don't mind having an Idol the Deep King. You can Atali's Favor into it, so it's sort of like a free deal too.
And then it crafts into a creature later. I think that flips oh no, that's the equipment one.
Yeah, the equipment, but it's fine. Oh wow, we wheeled the Saheeli's Lattice. That's good. There's also an unlucky drop here. We're not really decided on whether we're playing a second color. I mean, if we open like a white bomb in the next pack, we would just take it. So I think we can just take the Lattice.
Red and staying open here, yeah.
We are very low on creatures. We only have 3. And if we don't pick up creatures for these favors, then, what we're even doing.
That's true.
That being said, here we'll just take the Volcano. I like having a couple of these crack lands in these. There's a Cave, Basking Capybara.
Capybara is a 2-drop creature.
Creatures. We're getting to the point where I'm like getting a little concerned about our creature count, and we may end up in red.
Pack 1, pick 12. Like, I'm not too worried about it, but
yeah. Ooh, this is tight. Staggering Size versus Hidden Nursery. I think if we end up in green, I'd rather have the size. It's just a really good pump spell. But again, it's a non-creature. All right, let's take a Didact Echo, round up the pack here. Wow, Kutzil wheeled.
Last pick Kutzil. All right, into pack 2. I kind of want to just see a red bomb, but we could pivot off of red. Not really off of red, but we could be in some kind of red-green dinos, maybe splashing white for the Kutzil if we feel that's necessary. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't mind playing like a 3-color deck, especially if splashing in this format. You can splash off some random lands and some random mana dorks. We could pick up like the frog. Oh, Island, get in here. All right, Bonehorde Dracosaur. No, it's a Bringer of the Last Gift. This is the one that casts Living End. The 8 mana 6/6 flyer. If you cast it in ETBs, you get back everything from the graveyard for both you and your opponent, and you sack everything on the board. Huge bomb, but pretty far off vector for us. Nothing super exciting in red. There's another Sunfire Torch and Ancestor's Aid, but we have plenty of combat tricks and a torch already. I think I like the Cenote Scout here. If we're going to push into green, then we want to be green beatdown. These Staggering Sizes, vector-wise, these push us to be attacking and attacking early. And a 1-mana 2/2, that's good for that.
There is a second River Herald Scout here, so if we did try to want to, if we expected to get blue on this end of the pack, then maybe we make a push into blue. But we already have a few decent green cards, and I think we'd spec too hard if we went blue. So
I love that Ultec Cloud Guard, but it's gone. Now here's some action. Belligerent Yearling and Gold Fury Strider. I like both of these a lot. Both very strong beatdown cards. They actually both already have trample, so a little bit of a non-bow with Atali's Favor and Staggering Size. Funny enough, Atali's Favor is not at its best in red-green because everything already has trample, and a lot of your stuff ends up being bigger. So Discover 3 into it doesn't really work out the best. I mean, what do you discover into? Staggering Size? I guess. Hard to pass up the Yearling, though. Like another good 2-drop. Plus, we'll pick up some dinosaurs at some point. We're starting to move into red-green here at this point. Panicked Alphasaur might wheel. We might play a Seeker of Sunlight. Gold Fury Strider sometimes wheels. People don't really realize how strong this card is. I think on power level, Strider and Yearling are about the same. Yearling will push us in a bit more of a dino vector, though, so let's try to pick up some dinosaurs. Hey, I mean, there's one. There's an Armored Kincaller. 2 of those Bitter Triumphs going around, but we're not anywhere close to playing black. I do think the black-green deck is a little open. I mean, we're seeing Bitter Triumph here and in the last pack as well, but I think we can just take a Kincaller here. This deck needs to be able to stabilize against the most hyper-aggressive starts in order to go that one level above it. And Kincaller is a big part of that. A red-green deck that doesn't have Kincallers is in danger of just getting run over based on the pure beatdown of a red-white opponent. But the Kincaller, that gaining 3 life is huge. It helps you establish that board presence with a bit of a life total buffer so that you can maybe take one more hit that you couldn't have taken otherwise.
Pairs well with the favors too.
Yeah. Oh, ooh. I love Master's Guide Mural. That's sad. All right. I've been seeing some people singing the praises of Mineshaft Spider. We're pretty far away from the self-mill vector. I think
there's a Burning Sun Cavalry in the pack, which is I've seen be decent in some of the like more low to the ground aggressive red decks, but I don't know that it's necessarily a great fit here. It is nice to have the extra 2-drop, but
yeah, we are trying to be dinos. I mean, like what else are we taking? Someone did take the Earthshaker Dreadmaul out of that first pack, so we may be fighting over dinosaurs with someone else. So red green, maybe it ends up being cut. I do think it's the pick here. Man, Master's Guide Mural is just such a better card. I think we just take the Burning Suns Cavalry though and just try to pick up some more dinosaurs. All right, here's something. Here's another Armored Kincaller. And it's one of the best cards in the pack, too. There's an Iron Paw Aspirant. Pairs really well with the 1-drop flyers. Or just any 1-drop. Love Cogwork Wrestler, but blues being...
That's the second we've seen. And we did also see another Siren, the Oaken Siren in this pack 2 here. So it does feel like blue is coming our way a little bit. I maybe would have liked to pivot off of green, but we are too so deep dry at this point.
I mean, you can't really take a Cogwork Wrestler over like... It's good, but we don't have anything along the artifact vector.
No, that's true. You're right.
It also doesn't pair really well with the favors we have. Whereas Kincaller, when you favor it into a Kincaller and you have a Dino in play, that's massive.
That's definitely good.
This one's a bit of a whiff. There's a Petrify, which I don't love the idea of splashing for. We don't have a lot of treasure makers or anything. There's an Ancestors A, but we already have the staggering sizes. I think I might actually just take a Captivating Cave here. Maybe we end up splashing the Kutsil. It does pair pretty well with the Itali's favor. I mean, it's along the vector of wanting to pump your stuff, have its non-base power and toughness.
You can discover it off the favors too.
No, that's true. Actually, that basically just splashes it for us, right?
Yeah.
I do actually like Cave in these types of decks, especially with a lot of tramplers. You can just put some counters on and smack for lethal.
Ooh, really
this one's a bit of a whiff. There have been a lot of helping hands going around. I think these packs have broken kind of awkwardly for us. A lot of helping hands going around. A Gargantuan Leech is far away from our vector. We're not interested in Cosmium Blast or these black cards. I could take a walk with the Ancestors. Maybe another Idol of the Deep King.
I feel like we would want the first walk over the second Idol. The Idol's not doing it. Like, we're not really looking to flip it. Oh, wow.
Ooh,
okay.
Oh, wow. All right. Here's some action. Another Kincaller, and you really can't play too many of these. They just get better in multiples. Another favor and a Malamet Battle Glyph. We are really low on removal. I think we got to take the Glyph.
Yeah. It does feel bad that we passed up on all those Wathleys strikes, the fight spells, or the bite spells. But we passed on maybe 2 or 3 of those, which is unfortunate.
That's true. Yeah. Well, we get another Spitfire or Sunfire Torch here. We can just take that. I mean, the Sunfire Torches, they are kind of like removal that just work with attacking. Another Staggering Size. I think we can take the Altasaur here. Good to have a Dino stuck in your hand for the Armored Kincaller, and has 4 power to buff the Yearling. Plus, you can a
it's a good way to close out games on a board stall too.
All right, look. I'm going to tell you right now, if we open Gishath in pack 3, I'm taking it. If we have a Gishath in deck, we run a Sunbird Standard. It just helps into it. All right, I'll take the Minecraft Spider.
The Spider.
Tectonic Hazard. This is best of 1, but take the Hazard anyway. Yeah, I'll take another walk over another Hazard. All right, Gishath. No, so but lucky.
We did get its Kinth.
All right, we got its Kinth. There's an Abrade too. Oh man, that's tough.
We have to take the Itzkinth here though, right?
We do. This is peak vector theory, right? This is just a 2-drop hasty dino. You could always just slap an Itali's favor on it and go to town. But this thing is obviously just directly what we're trying to do.
There is also a Blade Master and an Axe Draw in this pack, which I wouldn't mind wheeling either of. We're not going to get the Abrade back, but if we can maybe find the Axe Draw on the wheel, that would be nice.
We didn't even mention our rare. It's a Get Lost. I actually really like Get Lost. I think people just don't know how to use it. This is a card that's at its best when your opponent has no creatures. So you want to have a ton of removal spells in your deck or a ton of ways to control the board, maybe even a Wrath. Like Black-White can use it. Oh, the Schooner. I love the Schooner. We have no way of playing the Schooner.
There's also a Waterwind Scout. Blue is feeling really good in this pack.
I mean, getting past the Schooner, that's a clear sign. Waterwind Scout. Honestly, I might just take it for the gems. Like,
can we splash it? Is it worth splashing?
Can we splash the Schooner?
We don't have to play white.
You can Italia's favor into it. That's pretty sick. Schooner is a super busted Magic card. It's basically Smuggler's Copter, but in blue. What card am I
giving
taking
up
from
anything?
this?
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, I think you actually do take the Schooner here.
All right, I'll take the Schooner. It probably doesn't make the deck, but like, wow, a Starving Revenant. So blue and black, and there's a Waterlogged Hulk. All right, blue and black, just dumping your whole library into the graveyard seems to be open. But we've got a Cavern Stomper. Yeah, I think we can just slam this. The red-green deck, it does like having a way to just go fully over the top and just, I mean, in the case of the Stomper, activate its ability and literally go over the top of all their 1 and 2 mana stuff. Yeah,
there is also a Hotfoot Gnome in that pack, and I like that card, but much more so in the red-blue decks than the red-green ones. We do have a Sunshot Militia in this pack, and I think that card's just good in every red deck that can cast it. Maybe not.
Yeah. It hasn't been at its best in red-green where you're not pumping out tons of artifacts. In red-white with something like Tinker's Tote, then the Sunshot Militia just pops off. I mean, I've dealt 5 damage to my opponent with this in 1 turn.
Sure.
Actually, with the God, Oger Exani, whatever the red god is, the red god says that when you would deal non-combat damage to an opponent, you deal it equal to its power instead. So that meant each of these pings does 4. There's a Nikanzil in here. I don't think we're playing that.
Itzkinth number 2 off the wheel, or well, not a wheel yet, but
pick 5. Pick 5 Itzkinth. Man, who took that Dreadmaw in pack 1? We deserve that Dreadmaw.
Yeah.
But this is why you play Dinos, right? You just get to pick 5 Itzkinth. Armored Kincaller in this pack 2. We could probably wheel that. Maybe a Seeker of Sunlight. I don't know. It doesn't really matter what we will past this. We're slamming the Itzkinth and then hopefully getting back the Sun Kincaller.
What's our Dino count at? Oh my god! We just got past a third Itzkinth.
It's second. It's third.
Oh my goodness! For those who can't see the screen, if you're listening and you can't watch, we got a third Itzkinth back to back, and now we're picking up a Nurturing Bristleback, which is just a phenomenal card in green. Just absolutely good.
Man, 3 Itzkinths. Look, it felt like our colors might not have been right at some points in this draft. But look, the packs just break weird sometimes. Sometimes you just got to trust the draft. And I mean, now there's not a single red card in the pack. There's a Malamet Veteran, which I guess we can take. I mean, Buried Treasure. Are we trying to cascade into our 5 drops? Not really. I'll just take the Veteran, but we're not playing it.
I'd just take like an uncommon or whatever. Just
yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got our wheel. We wheeled an Ancestor's Aid. I don't think we're playing the Blade Master.
No.
I mean, we're at 32 cards right now. We're gonna be making cuts, and I hate to say it, but I don't think the Schooner's making it in.
No, probably not at this point. I mean, with triple Itzkinth, it just doesn't matter.
Not with the Scout either. Oh, and actually, cascading into Itzkinth is kind of funny. If you are able to do that, you want to cast Italia's Favor on turn 5, leaving up the 2 mana for the Itzkinth so that when it ETBs, you can still play and pay it. Nothing really going on here. We'll take an Idol. I mean, our creature count is very solid at this point. We're well above creature and spells. We'll take another Minecraft Spider, I guess.
It's good.
Probably not playing
the Spider's like a good hedge against some of the like more aggressive blue-white Flyers decks, which
that's true.
This deck could struggle. Spider just kind of shuts them off. Like Spider's really hard for those decks to deal with.
All right, we're kind of in the dredges now. Just going to take some random stuff. Start looking at cuts. The Capybara is very off vector. Ooh. Seeker or Malamet Brawler. Neither of these might make the deck. Brawler's just kind of like a worse Itzkinth.
Yeah, I don't think we need it. We have plenty of 2 drops now.
Wow, really late Riverheld Scout with only 2 cards left. I mean, not letting someone get that last pick. It's embarrassing. I love River Herald Scout. One of the best 2-drops in blue. All right.
So I think at this point we're probably looking to cut any off-color cards. So we probably cut blue, we cut white, we probably cut the Sunbird. And that leaves us needing 5 cuts still.
Yeah,
I think we can. Pretty heavy on creatures, so we could probably cut a few of them.
We can cut a few of them, and we got to be careful that our creature count stays high, though, because Sunfire Torch and Italia's Favor, these actually the 2 staggering size as well. Even the Battle Glyph, these all creatures. Only work with creatures in play. I think we cut the Walk for Ancestors, Walk with the Ancestors. That's not really doing anything for us.
Sure, I could also see cutting one of the idols.
Yeah, our removal suite is not the best, although Sunfire Torch does kind of just what the idol does, but a little more efficiently. Yeah, I think we can cut one of the idols as well. I think we can afford to cut a couple creatures here. I think this is a 17 lander. Well, we have a Nurturing Bristleback to cycle, but this deck doesn't want to cycle.
Yeah.
We have a Saheeli's Lattice. Yeah, we have ways to use our excess lands. We have a Lattice to flip. We have 1 idol to flip. We have a Jadelight Spelunker as a mana sink. These Itzkins can be 2-drops or 4-drops.
Right.
So that kind of incentivizes us to hit our lands. All right, this is a 17 lander, and the Bristleback is just there against as like extra insurance. So I think we can safely cut 1 or 2 creatures. Let's take a look at our 2-drops here. I like to look at what we have in our early slots. We have no 1-drop creatures. Oh, actually, we have the Cenote Scout. That'll stay in for sure. That's a nice one. So we've got a Belligerent Yearling, a Burning Sun's Cavalry, which actually is going to be... I remember this was a disappointing pick, but we kind of got paid off. And we just have all dinos. Yeah. Lattice is going to be great in this deck because we have so many dinosaurs. You could just loot away something like a Nurturing Bristleback. And you can actually craft away multiple dinosaurs with the Lattice. So I one time had this thing be a 15-4 because I just crafted away 3 dinosaurs and it has all their power.
Pretty great for early trades too. Sunshot Militia is looking a little lackluster in this deck.
Sunshot Militia's got to go. It's suspect in this deck. Unfortunately, it's very off vector.
I was just about to say that's a clear. So like for the listener, if you're trying to figure out where you're making cuts, that's a card that's a perfect example of just ask yourself, when is this at its best? It's not here. And if you're looking at vector theory, right? Like that card wants to have your board go wide with artifacts and or creatures. We're not doing that. We're not going wide in any capacity. We aren't generating artifacts. It's a 1/3, so it's not applying pressure. Just outside of being a 2-drop, that it doesn't have anything that really lines up with this deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going tall as it gets here. I guess you could kind of use vector theory to ask yourself, well, what does this deck look like when it wins the game? I think what this deck looks like is you're swinging with 3 or 4 chunky creatures. They're about to take lethal anyway. They're forced to chump, and then you cast a staggering size, or you use a Sunfire Torch to snipe their 1 good blocker. You use an Italia's Favor to give a 5/5 trample or something like that. Maybe you get the occasional panicked Altasaur win where there's a board stall and this thing just kind of pings them down. Altasaur is solid. Actually, having the Altasaur, this thing has reach as well.
Cut a spider, yeah.
Exactly. I think we want to maximize our dino count for the Itzkins and the Lattice, the Burning Sun's Cavalry. Wanderglyph is staying in. So we have 3 Itzkins. Man, that is nuts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 solid creatures to play on turn 2 or sooner. I like that. Too bad we didn't get more kin callers. I wouldn't have minded another one. Could have played one more over a spider. We are kind
Spelunker is one of those cards that is interesting too, because it's like not actually doing anything to help our vector directly, but it is just good in every vector.
Yeah, this is one of those generically strong cards. It doesn't ask anything of you. When is this card at its best? When you cast it for
10 million mana to spend. Yeah.
That's true. It actually does incentivize, a longer game. Like tapping out for X equals 10 is better than X equals 2, right?
Sure.
As all X spells, I guess, are incentivized that way. But this one's costed efficiently enough that we're never cutting it. Let's look at our top end. Cavern Stomper, Bristleback. Yeah, Cavern Stomper is the 6 mana 7/7 ETB Scry 2. I like that thing. Bristleback is the Cycler. The 7 mana 5/5 ETB make a 3/3. I like both of these. the Allosaur, and I put the Spelunker up here at the top end too. We need one cut. We've got 15 creatures. I don't think I want to go to 14 ever. So I think it's got to be a non-creature spell we cut here.
Yeah. And I definitely don't think we go down to 16.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, Itzkins are going to be our removal most of the time. I could see cutting the idol. It's just not very efficient. We're off the artifact vector pretty much entirely. It's good to cascade into, but like...
So is Itzkins.
Yeah, you can just cascade into an Itzkins. It is a little awkward if you already have an Itzkins out and you cascade into another one.
Well, that's
that
true.
Kind of sucks.
The legend aspect of Itzkins is a downside, but I still think it's better than idol.
Oh yeah, we're never cutting in Itzkins. So, all right, that's our deck. Let's run it up from the bottom. We've got 2 Sunfire Torches, a Cenote Scout, a Malamute Battle Glyph, all of our 1-drops there. Belligerent Yearling, Burning Sun's Cavalry, Volatile Wander Glyph, Malamute Brawler, and 3 Itzkins as our 2-drop creatures. We've got some tricks going on at the 2s. We've got 2 Staggering Size to give 3/3 and trample. A Saheeli's Lattice, which is nice in these red-green decks. Sometimes you just draw too many lands and you need a way to like sink some mana, get rid of one late game. This is exactly what this deck wants. I don't think it's an accident that Saheeli's Lattice crafts with dinosaurs.
Yeah,
I think this is designed for this deck where you don't want to risk that flood out, and you might have some dinos that traded off laying around in the graveyard. 3-drops, we've got 2 Armored Kincallers and then 2 Atali's Favors. These do work best with other 3-drops, right? Like you prefer to hit a 3-drop off of Atali's Favor. But if you put Atali's Favor on a 2-drop and then hit another 2-drop, that's fine. If you hit like a Sunfire Torch, that's fine. A Malamute Battle Glyph, that's fine. A Kincaller would be ideal hit off the Favor, though. 1 Mineshaft Spider, kind of hedging our bets against the good flying decks in this format. Same with Panicked Allosaur. We've got a Jadelight Spelunker hanging up here in the 5-drop slot, although it's an X spell, so it could go anywhere. A Cavern Stomper and a Nurturing Bristleback at the top end. Mana-wise, we picked up the 1 Hidden Volcano and 1 Captivating Cave as sort of like flexible lands. And I like what it gave us here. 7 mountains, 8 forests. So 8 red sources, 8 green sources, and then a Captivating Cave, which is mainly worth the inclusion just because of that 1/1 counters clause. I actually really like that with all these trampling creatures and the Staggering Size to give trample. We can just, flatten over our opponent.
Yeah, it's unfortunate you can only activate that as a sorcery because like it would be really fun to do that late game where like you top deck an Itzkins and you play it with the ability on the stack, you tap it to give it the counters and then pay the 2 or whatever. I guess you'd need 8 mana for that.
We could get tricky. I mean, you could Staggering Size in response to an Itzkins trigger. That could be something.
That's true.
Yeah, or sometimes with Itzkins, I forget that you can look at other dinosaurs. Like if you top deck an Itzkins with a Nurturing Bristleback in play, or a Cavern Stomper, you just get to snipe something for 5, 7.
Oh, it is target dinosaur. Yeah, I always thought it was Itzkins that did it. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that just wouldn't be good enough. This has to be a little bit more upgraded than that. This is what did you think this was? Some mere flame tongue Kavu?
Yeah, that's a draft. All right, on to our listener question of the week. This week, our question comes from Spurlo in the Discord. If you want to have your question answered on the show, jump into the Discord, check out the listener questions channel. But this week, Spurlo asks, what impact do you feel content creators sharing their opinions on a set has on the amount of the set, on the amount that the set is drafted?
Ooh.
It's a good question. I feel like we have little to no influence, personally.
What are you talking about? We're influencers now.
No. Kinda. We're content creators. Different.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say though that I expect that Marshall and LSV and Sam Black and the Lords of Limited guys, like the bigger podcasts that are putting out content, the bigger YouTubers that are putting out limited content, are probably influencing people. Maybe I don't know if they're necessarily influencing people to draft a set less directly. I'll circle back to that in a minute, but I don't think they're directly influencing people to draft a set more or less, but I think they are influencing what people draft and how they draft it, which is, functionally why you would listen to content anyways. Like, how do I get better at drafting this format?
Yeah.
That said, I think people will indirectly influence whether a set is drafted more or less based on how much they enjoy it, or by solving the set too early and getting that like propagated out very quickly. With the amount of content that gets created these days, everybody pretty much knows what's going on with the set within the first 2 weeks, and then the set gets really boring really fast after that, unless it's something like Zendikar Rising where a new random deck pops up in the middle of the format, and then like people kind of get reinvigorated and have something more to do. Kind of why we took a look at doing the bounty boards, because that gives us something to do later on in the format when we're done experimenting and figuring out like what actually works. We can just toy around with trying to get these little achievements. So I think people content creators indirectly influence how much a set is drafted. Some content creators probably explicitly or directly influence
more than others
whether a set is drafted, but just by saying, hey, don't draft this set, it's bad. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of whether or not a set is good or bad can be subjective and depends on what you enjoy. So that also plays a factor there too. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I agree. If a set can be drafted, a lot of us, limited grinder content creator types, we're going to draft it, right? It takes a really bad set for us to be like, nah, I'm good. And even then we'll find something else to do. So I also think that we're driven by the fact that we love drafting and playing limited and playing Magic. So if a set is like maybe not the best ever, like LCI, let's be honest, it's not the best ever. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to come out here with an overly vitriolic take and be like, no one should draft this. What do you think I want? The Discord to die? Like, I want people talking about this set. If you did something cool, like Zach said, like the bounty boards, we want to hear about it. Because we're willing to admit that like we're not immediate experts on every format ever. There's probably tons of cool stuff left to do in LCI that we haven't even seen yet. So even if we were to come out with a strong opinion one way or another, I almost hope you'd ignore us and just keep doing what makes you happy and limited, whether that's drafting this set. If this is your favorite set of all time, then, ignore what I just said about not loving it that much. I like it. We just drafted a dinosaurs deck. Like, I'm not complaining about that. There's 3 copies of a legendary baby dinosaur. Sick. That being said, yeah, definitely some of the bigger content creators, if they were to say this sucks, look, there's some sheeple out there that'll just kind of go along with that, but not our listeners. Our listeners, they're the real heads. They're trying to go deep, get those bounty packs.
Yeah. All right, on to Fairy Tibble. This is our Roses and Thorns style segment where Ben and I share a high and a low from the past week. Ben, it was a big week. We had Marshall on the show last week, and then we went into a big holiday in the U.S. So how was your week going?
It's pretty good. Yeah, it feels like it's been a bit since our last show, because it actually has. We did have the whole holiday weekend. We saw each other in person. That doesn't happen all that often. Although, as does happen literally every time, one of us forgot our commander decks. Yeah. I'm not going to say who forgot their commander decks.
It was me. This time it was me. This time.
Yeah, this time it was you. It does tend to swap. But we actually played LCI. We played a pre-release. We just bought 2 pre-release kits on Black Friday. Got some nice deals from Nerdvana Games. Shout out Nerdvana. I love you all in South Jersey. Great local game store. And let's just say my deck was a bit bigger than Zach's.
Yeah, no, that's true. It was. What were you playing? 60 cards?
I was actually playing 60 cards. Yeah. 5, maybe 6 color caves. I don't know. I lost track after the 4th one, the 4th color that I jammed in there.
You still did Zach, 2 on me.
Did I? No, I feel like I lost. I feel like we finished like 2-2. Didn't I scoop one within games. Didn't I scoop one within like a turn and just like
you did.
re-rolled
That's right. Yeah, because I went like 1-drop flyer with lifelink into Sunfire Torch into at Tali's favor. It was just like
you had like a 5/4 on turn deck. 3, and I just had not a single kill spell in my top 30 cards. Fun deck though. I think I achieved a bounty even. I believe I flipped a Grim Captain.
You did flip. Well, did you though? I mean, I don't think there's any proof that you did.
Supposedly photo evidence is out there, but the sources are still debating. Anywho, that was a good time. Been having some I guess some rough luck with Vintage Cube. I've been playing in some of these 64-player Vintage Cube challenges. As people who have been following my Vintage Cube escapades in Discord know, I'm very good at going 2-1. Unfortunately, that doesn't actually get you anywhere in a 64-player single elim tournament. You need to go 3-0 to make the second draft, and then you're in top 8, and then you get to go from there, and then you get prizes, and it buys you back into the next one. But if you go 2-1, it doesn't really get you anything at all. So I've had some sick decks. I played like a Lands Tinker deck. I played a really, really nice like blue-white Cheon's deck with Time Walk, 2 Moxen, a bunch of counter spells, and then a bunch of white beatdown cards like Adeline and Cathar, all that good stuff. Jace the Mind Sculptor was in that deck. That was a sweet one. I came really close to making top 8, but I died to a Reanimator deck on turn 2, and that's Vintage Cube for you. I'll probably fire another one tonight. It's a lot of fun. In my Tybalt section, I feel like my competitive streak has hit a bit of a wall. The RCQ. Well, okay. I kind of failed out of the Open over the weekend. There was an Arena Open. A lot of good stuff in Discord about it. I had not one, but 2 different decks where I lost the winning in to day 2. And that was rough, especially because they were both very good decks. And I feel like I played well, but just didn't get there. And, that's what happens sometimes. I have an RCQ coming up next week for Modern. I feel as though my Grief Blade deck is about to get banned out from under me if bans fall on Monday and end up hitting Grief. I'm hoping they hit Fury instead, because let's be honest, we all know it's Fury's problem. But I'm actually very curious to see where the bans go. If you have bans, listener, any ban predictions, let us know in Discord. I'd love to talk a little bit of constructed if the limited heads will allow us.
Yeah, there's that little constructed subsection of the Discord you can stay over there.
Yeah, we can chat about that. Anyway, what's been up with you?
Well, it's Spotify Wrapped week, and so my Tybalts and Teferis revolve around that. The Creator Wrapped was pretty cool. We had a lot of interesting information, lots of growth on the podcast this year that I think is not always so easy to notice when it happens more steadily than like overnight. And so it was actually quite nice to see some of the like listener metrics and some of that stuff. Like, a lot of you listening just found us this year, and that's really awesome. We've been doing this for like almost 4 years now, and it's pretty cool that people are still finding the show this far into it and enjoying it. We had, I think, 16 people who Draft Chaff was their number 1 podcast, which is just phenomenal. We never thought we'd have 16 best listeners, let alone that 16 people would have it as their top podcast. So, and for the record, I'm not one of them. I don't listen to our show, so.
I will sometimes go back and listen to hear a lot of your good edits. Like on the last week, you edited it so that Marshall was like, "Oh yeah, you got what was it you made him say?"
I don't even remember anymore. I had him. I think he was making a comment about whether or not you could pronounce. I'm not going to be able to say it. Dinomaton.
Dinotomaton. I don't know. Whatever it was. It was funny. Yeah.
My Tybalt though is that my personal Spotify Wrapped was a little disappointing. It was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't like. I kind of expected it because I have a favorite artist that I know is my favorite artist, and I expected him to be at the top. And then like my top 5 songs were also just all his music, and like I listened to one of his songs 170 times in like 1 month.
There you go. It's up
so
there.
I don't know, but it was just like a little bland. One band made it into my top 5 that I was like, they're not a favorite of mine. I don't know how they made it into the top 5, but they're like on my workout mix. So maybe that was it. I don't know. So it's just overall just a little bit bland and kind of just boring a little bit, but
yeah,
Spotify Wrapped season is always fun. So, well, that about does it for us this week. Thank you so much for listening. Do check out the Discord if you haven't already. It's the best place to be to chat with us and the rest of the Chaffiscionado community. If you'd like to support the show directly, you can do so on Patreon at patreon.com/draftchaffpod, or check out our merch at shop.draftchaff.com. We have updated all of our merch to use our new logo and branding and such. So check that out if that's something you are interested in. And you can find us on social media on Twitter at draftchaffpod. And we have a subreddit now as well, r/draftchaffpod. So if you're interested in checking that out, you can go over there as well. Thanks, folks, and we'll catch you next week.
I did want to add something to the whole Spotify Wrapped. If you are one of those 16 people for whom Draft Chaff is your top listen podcast, I've got an arena code with your name on it. So just shoot me a DM or at me in Discord. I will send that over to you ASAP. By this point, I assume we will already have been discoursing about this in the Discord for a while, because I know the moment we're done recording, I'm putting my Wrapped in Discord so people can talk about it. But mine was also a bit disappointing. I actually noticed some of my soundtrack listening got maybe a little excessive. I was listening to a bunch of soundtracks while grading, and I guess I didn't realize quite how much I had them on repeat. And here's something kind of funny. My top artist this year, I didn't even know who he was. Does the name ring a bell for you? Nicholas Britell?
No, I don't think so.
Well, turns out he's actually a very prolific composer. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. I, had known a lot of his work without knowing a lot of big Oscar-winning movies. But he did the Andor soundtrack. And I didn't realize that there was, I think, a day when I left one of the songs from Andor on just repeat. And I think it eclipsed every other song I listened to this year, like that day alone. Because I don't know how else this could have happened.
Oh, he did the music for Succession too.
Yeah. Like, that's some talent right there. And some of my other ones were as expected. I had Hozier up there, Boy Genius, Always. And some of my top songs are about what I expected too. But again, a little disappointing. I think maybe next year I need to craft my... But that's disingenuous. I don't know. I guess if it comes out boring, maybe that just means we're boring people. I don't know.
Well, I was like, you can't blame Spotify Wrapped for that. That's just your listening habits. And also maybe you forgetting to stop playing a song, if that was also part of the problem.
Yeah. I saw someone say something along the lines on Twitter of like, that's my Spotify Wrapped this year. This is so accurate. This is so me. Yeah, because it's the data for you.
Yep.